Colorado High School Activities Association Baseball is on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. From Ken Denver High School in Englewood, it's the Brush Bee Diggers against the Ken Denver Sun Devils. I'm John Beltran. This game already underway. Noah Van Sickle, the winning pitcher in the district title game 2 years ago, who was a sophomore back then, pitching for Ken Denver. It was a ground out by Caleb Cox to the mound to begin the game. Back to the pitcher Van Sickle, and then a 5-pitch walk to Justin Griffith. So here's Nick Wellen, 0-1. He just swung and fouled off a fastball. We'll set the Bee Digger lineup here coming up momentarily. Griffith with about a 2-step lead at first. Throw back to first, and it bounces in to the first baseman, Isaiah Manzanares. Bee Digger starting lineup brought to you by Equitable Savings and Loan. Proud to be Northeast Colorado's locally owned hometown savings and loan. Fort Morgan, Sterling, and Brush available 24/7 for your banking needs. And the offering. And that is a strike. That's a delayed call. Looked pretty good from here, but it took a while there, at least until the signal. No balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, Van Sickle gave the Bee Diggers fits 2 years ago. That was an 11-1 victory in which Ken Denver hit 3 home runs in that district title game. 3-step lead for Griffith. And the offering. And that went behind him to the screen. And it ricochets back to the catcher. And to second is Justin Griffith on the wild pitch.
Wild pitch. Passes to second.
Ken Denver 2-0 going into this game. The Bee Diggers lost their opener to Valley 11-7 on Tuesday. They begin the season with 3 on the road, including Saturday morning at 10 o'clock against the Weld Central Rebels. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Van Sickle, the right-hander, gets the sign. And the offering. And that is off the catcher's glove to third. Is going to be Griffith, and he'll be there. I'm going to call that a pass ball. It looked like it got there on the fly. It was just low. All right, let's get to the rest of the starting lineup for Brush. Batting fourth is the third baseman, Isaac D. Herrera. The catcher, Colin Cole, hits 5th. Right fielder, Carson Rule, hits 6th. Ryan Dunker, the first baseman, hits 7th. The pitcher, Gunnar Guzman, hits 8th. And left fielder, Ben Brown, is batting 9th. And the offering. And that is over but low. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Got the inside corner there, but it was below the knees. 3-2 here to Nick Wellen. The sophomore digs back in for the right side. Van Sickle out of the stretch with a man at third and 1 down. And the offering. Swung on and tapped foul up the third base side towards the Digger dugout. Remains at 3-2 to Nick Wellen. The first home game for Brush will be on Tuesday against Sterling. Then they'll have another home game next Thursday, a week from today, against the Eaton Reds. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, 1 on, top of the first inning. And Van Sickle delivers. Swung on and grounded to short. The run will score as Griffith will cross home plate. The throw is made as Davis Evans retires. Nick Wellen, who drives in the run, and the Bee Diggers lead 1-0 here in the top of the first inning in Englewood. And that'll bring up Isaac D. Herrera, who was not retired on Tuesday. He also did very well in relief. As the cleanup hitter steps in for Brush. Yeah, the one thing we saw from Van Sickle as a sophomore, he went right after hitters. Didn't mess around too much. But a nice job of Wellen getting that count to 3-2 before driving in the run. With the bases empty. The wind and the pitch. And that is inside. With a fastball, 1 ball and no strikes. Followed by Colin Cole. With an open stance is D. Herrera. And the offering. And that bounces into the screen. And Van Sickle doesn't look too comfortable. He's thrown a wild pitch already. Another one that got away from the catcher, Rhodey. We'll get the official pronunciation here momentarily. 2 balls and no strikes. The Bee Diggers have taken the early 1-0 lead, squaring to bunt, but that's simply a decoy to take ball 3, a fastball up and in. And Van Sickle, so far through 17 pitches, has thrown only 7 strikes. He has recorded 2 outs. 3 balls and no strikes to the opening, or to the cleanup hitter. And that's taken for a strike with a fastball right down the heart of the plate to De Herrera. And again, a catcher visit to the mound, so something is not jiving here in the first inning. Make Stubbs Gas and Oil your next stop heading out of town. You can sit down to lunch, gas up your vehicle, get snacks and your hunting and fishing licenses. Stubbs Gas and Oil in Wiggins. That is a fastball in the inside corner for a strike. Belt high, it's 3-2. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And Van Sickle kicks and fires, and that is in the dirt. And that's the second walk of the inning issued by Van Sickle. You know, that tempts me to look back at the line from 2 years ago, because I don't remember him being, and that was in a huge game. As Colin Cole steps in. Let's see if I can find that line from that district title game back in May of 2016. And the pitch is in there for a strike. Throw back to first, back in diving is De Herrera. Yeah, Van Sickle in that game went 5 innings, 41 strikes, 19 balls, had 6 strikeouts, and only 1 walk. He's already walked 2 here. And the 0-1 pitch to Cole. Up and in with a heater. And the count levels at 1-1. So he's already walked more in this game in 2/3 of an inning than he did in 5 innings 2 years ago against the Bee Diggers. Short lead for De Herrera. About a couple of steps. And Cole awaits the pitch. Here it is. And that bounces in. Up the third base side. No advance by the runner. 2 balls and 1 strike. Very overcast here in Englewood. Leave the sunshine in Morgan County, and it just got hazier and hazier as we arrived here in Englewood about 40 minutes ago. 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 down. The Bee Diggers with a 1-0 lead and an RBI ground out from Nick Wellen. De Herrera leads off of first to get a very short lead. Colin Cole moved up to the 5th spot here. Van Sickle with a stretch. And the offering. And that is over, but a little bit low. 3-1. Certainly was an issue for Valley against Brush with the number of walks they had. The Bee Diggers tried to mount a comeback at the tying run on base 3 consecutive innings, and that's going to be the 3rd walk issued here by Van Sickle, down and in. And they're working up a pitch count already. 23 pitches, only 9 strikes. And that'll send up Carson Rule. Rule was 1 for 2 with a walk against Valley. Runners take their leads. And the pitch swung on and fisted foul, now to play off to the right. No balls and 1 strike. You can follow us on Twitter at KSIR Sports, the 1010 KSIR Sports Facebook page. Inning by inning updates of this game and in all games. Broadcast here on 1010 as well as KSIR.com. The pitch, swing and a miss, challenge him with a fastball. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. Try to throw it near that same location on the hands of Carson Rule. De Herrera off of second, Cole off of first. An 0-2 pitch to the right fielder. Here it is. Upstairs with a fastball. He's gone primarily with a heat here. It's 1-2. Again, the runners take their leads with 2 down in the top of the first inning. And the pitch in the dirt with a breaking ball, and it's blocked by the catcher, Rhodey. It's 2-2. Ryan Dunker waits to hit next, and he cleared the bases with a triple on Tuesday. Got the Bee Diggers back into the game against Valley. Again, Van Sickle looks back. And the 2-2 pitch. Swung on and fouled straight back. Well, they're going to accomplish something here. This will be the 30th pitch of the inning thrown by Noah Van Sickle. And again with a pitch limit, that will summon Ken Denver to the bullpen maybe earlier than they anticipated. Wind kicks up a little bit here in Englewood. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 2 on. 1-0 Brush in the top of the first inning. And Carson Rule awaits. And the offering, it's upstairs. And way inside with a fastball. Now the runners will be going on 3-2. Yep, and Van Sickle clearly has not established control of the strike zone. 18 balls and 12 strikes so far. 3-2. And there go the runners. Way outside. And upstairs with another fastball. And the bases are loaded. 4th walk of the inning. The 3 beat diggers on the bases were all issued walks. And here's Ryan Dunker. And again, as we mentioned, Dunker did clear the bases. That was his only hit. He was 1 for 4 with those 3 ribbies against Valley starter Tyler Kistler. Well, not all at-bats were against him, but certainly that triple was. As now we get a little bit of rain here. Just some light drops. The Bee Diggers lead 1-0 here at the bottom of the first inning. 1 down as Gunnar Guzman retires the opening hitter on a line drive to right field. 3-1 to Davis Evans, and that is ball 4. Guzman will throw a variety of pitches, the fastball, the changeup. We'll see an arsenal there to try to get these hitters off balance. A very talented lineup here for Ken Denver. The Bee Diggers defensively have Ryan Dunker at first, Caleb Cox at second, Isaac D. Herrera is the third baseman. At short is Nick Wellen. Ben Brown is in the left, Justin Griffith in center, Carson Rule in right, Colin Cole behind the plate. And again, the right-hander, Gunnar Guzman, the pitch. And that is just inside to Henry Rogers. 1 ball and no strikes. Jackson Chrisman led off the game with that liner to right caught by Rule. And Evans just walked. Rogers up there. Noah Van Sickle on deck. Throw back to first. Back and diving is Evans. Jack Rode, the catcher, is hitting 5th. Ben Feiderman, the second baseman, bats 6th. The first baseman, Isaiah Manzanares, at 7th. Third baseman, Sebastian Radecki, I should say, hits 8th. And Jack Frank, the right fielder, bats 9th. That's tapped foul up the left side towards the Digger dugout. 1 ball and 1 strike. Here to Henry Rogers. 1-0 Brush on Nick Wellen's RBI groundout in the top of the first inning. Henry Rogers with an open stance awaits the pitch, and that's up and away. 2 balls and 1 strike. Justin Griffith, a fellow senior, started the opening game. Throw to first is offline, but Dunker's able to snag that. 2-1 here to Henry Rogers in the bottom of the first inning from Englewood. The Bee Diggers at double play depth, about a 2-step lead there for Evans, and the offering. Swung on and popped foul out of play. Looked like Gunnar elevated what looked like a changeup. 2-2. Bee Diggers scored 7 runs, plenty of offense against Valley, but they did score the majority of those runs once they were down by 7. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here to Henry Rogers. Cole lays down the sign and the offering. Swung on and popped down the left field line. A long run, and that should be caught. It is on a leaping grab just inside the line by Ben Brown, and there's 2 down. It looked like he kind of leaped for that ball. I'm not sure he had to do that, but nonetheless, he made the play. And back to first is Evans. Here's Noah Van Sickle, the right-handed hitting pitcher.
Noah Van Sickle's up, number 6.
Van Sickle digs in for Ken Denver. And the pitch by Guzman. Swung on and tapped slowly up the third baseline. It's going to be a tough play. It's barehanded over there by D. Herrera, the throw, and it gets in there on 1 hop. And now Dunker throws to third, and the tag, and out is Davis Evans. And applying the tag there, I believe, was Nick Wellen. So that would go. It will be scored a base hit for Noah Van Sickle, but then it's going to be scored as well 6-3-5 to nail Evans at third base. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and a man left. Let's head to the second. In Englewood, the score, Brush 1 and Ken Denver nothing on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. All right, the Bead Diggers with a 1-0 lead as we head to the second inning. And leading off for Brush will be Gunnar Guzman, followed by Ben Brown and Caleb Cox, 8-9-1 for the Bead Diggers. Here against Noah Van Sickle. Here in the top of the second inning. Let's see, we're going to try in here. We've had some reports that we've had an issue with the stream. All right, well, swung on and popped foul.
This pitch is fouled out.
No balls and 1 strike. Here's the wine and offering. And the breaking ball is there for a strike on the inside corner at the knees. No balls and 2 strikes. 1-0 Brush here in the top of the second inning. The wine and pitch. And that is a call strike 3 with a fastball in the outer half at the knees, and there's 1 down. And that'll bring up Ben Brown. Brown was 0 for 5 on Tuesday, now hitting out of the 9 hole in this particular game. The RBI ground out by Weldon in the first, brought to you by Western Engineering Consultants, swung on and fouled up the third base side. They provide civil engineering services for aviation, municipal, commercial, and residential clients in Colorado. They're invested and involved in the communities they work in. That's at Western Engineering Consultants. No balls and 1 strike, and the pitch. And the bender's in the dirt. Levels the count at 1-1. Van Sickle really scuffled in the first inning with 4 walks. Swing and a miss, but he's looking a lot better here in the second. Brown down to the count. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ben Brown digging in. And the pitch. And the curveball swung on and missed to the dirt, and Rode is just going to throw to first to retire the hitter. And that will record the strikeout there. And there's 2 down. Caleb Cox grounded to the mound in his first at bat. As the Bead Digger second baseman steps in. The wine in the pitch, way outside with a heater. 1 ball and no strikes. And Van Sickle does have to economize his pitches here in the second. I believe he threw 30 there in the first inning. Swung on that ball is grounded foul up the third base side. 33 for Van Sickle in the first. But only 9 pitches so far, recording 2 outs, both strikeouts here in the second. 1-0 Brush. Van Sickle with a 1-1 pitch, and the breaking ball is low. 2 balls and 1 strike. Two and one here to Caleb Cox in the offering. Way outside and upstairs with a fastball. It's 3-1. Three balls and 1 strike. And Caleb Cox awaits. That's wow. Called a strike, but that got an extra corner. Let's put it that way. That got an extended corner. 3-2. Yeah, the catcher had to reach out for that one. And the offering. And the curveball is swung on, grounded over the mound. Evans, the shortstop to his right, the second baseman, I should say. And he throws it into the ground, but it's scooped up by Manzanares. Check that. That's Fiderman. All right, so finally got the right fielder. Fiderman makes the play, And the Bee Diggers are done 1-2-3 here in the second inning. Let's go to the bottom of the second with the score. Brush 1 and Ken Denver nothing on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. Let's head to the bottom of the second inning. Brush leads Ken Denver 1-0 on Nick Wellen's RBI ground out in the first inning against Noah Van Sickle. Gunnar Guzman doing a nice job retiring the Sun Devils, just issuing a walk there in the bottom of the first. And here's a left-handed hitter. Let's see if this is Rode, if that's or Rhodey, the pronunciation here to begin the bottom of the second. The senior right-hander for Brush. Kicks and fires. Swung on and lifted foul down the left field line and out of play. So Jack Rude. All right, so Rude, Filerman, and Manzanares here for Ken Denver. Yeah, we've had just slight raindrops, and that's about it. Very overcast here. And the pitch. Swung on line, base hit into center field. So Rude reaches to begin the bottom of the second. And that'll bring up the right-handed hitting second baseman, Filerman. Cargill Meat Solutions committed to feeding the world in a responsible way by reducing environmental impact and improving products and processes. Learn about Cargill's story of commitment at Cargill.com. Throw back to first and back in diving there is Rude. Here has been Fillerman. He's well off the plate there, and the pitch, and that's up and in. Pitch got away from Guzman, 1 ball and no strikes. They did have a base runner in the first inning, but did not come home to roost. They had an infield single as well. Gunnar delivers. Swung on and popped up into shallow left field. The shortstop Wellen is out, about 4 steps out and makes the grab. Back to first is Rude. And that's the first out of the inning. Again, he had him out in front on a changeup there. As Guzman retires the hitter, that'll bring up Manzanares. Well, they got a nice mix of lefty-righty in this lineup. I believe that's the third lefty already. The stretch by Gunnar Guzman, the pitch. That is right there for a strike down the middle at the knees. It's 0-1. Rude takes his lead at first, about 1.5 to 2. The pitch. Swag, and a miss. Might have foul-tipped it. He did into the glove. And it is 0-2. When Gunnar gets that pitch up, it looks tempting, but with that change of pace we just saw with a previous hitter, he thought he had a pitch to hit, and he just popped it up. And the 0-2. Swung on and line foul off to the left and well out of play. As the count remains at no balls and 2 strikes, 1 down, bottom of the second inning in Englewood. The Bee Diggers hold a 1-0 lead. Serving Northeast Colorado for 3 generations. Hilltop Garage at 522-5757. Cole setting up and towards the inside there. No ball now. Realigning himself to pitch. Breaking ball swung on and missed in the dirt, and going to second is Rude. He was taking off anyway. No tag needed there because first base was occupied, but Gunnar Guzman picks up the strikeout. And there's 2 down here for Sebastian Radicke. Slightly open stance. Looking back is Guzman and the offering. And that looks pretty good from here. It is a strike on the outer half at the knees. No balls and 1 strike. Nearly a 2-to-1 ratio of strikes to balls right now for Guzman. Rude stretches out that lead. Wellen trying to sneak in behind it short. And the offering upstairs. Count levels at 1-1. Last year, the Bee Diggers had a huge lead on Ken Denver and won by a run. Ken Denver came storming back late in the game, and Brush won that one 9-8. And the 1-1 pitch upstairs again. Ball 2, strike 1 with 2 down in the bottom of the second inning. Again, Rudolph of second. A huge lead with nobody holding him on in the pitch. Way outside. 3-1. Got a base open there with the number 9 hitter, but I'm sure Gunnar wants to get this hitter so he can go 9-1-2 in the third. 3 balls, 1 strike. The senior right-hander looks back. And the pitch. That's right there. Ooh, maybe a little bit low. Looked like it got the knees, but it's the second walk issued by Guzman. I thought it had the knees there. Instead, first and second, 2 down here for Jack Frank. Another right-handed hitter. Frank is the right fielder for Ken Denver. The pitch. That got the outer half of the plate for a strike. No balls and 1 strike. Here to Frank. The stretch. And Gunnar comes home. Swung on and fouled off to the right. He had to reach out for that one. And now the count at 0-2. Let's see if Gunnar can throw one of those pitches. And the runner goes to third, and the breaking ball is fouled off. That's the same pitch he threw to strike out a hitter earlier in the inning when he struck out Manzanares, but that pitch was a little bit higher than the one that obviously that was in the dirt when Manzanares swung at that. No balls and 2 strikes with 2 down and 2 on. 1-0 beat Diggers in a second. And the offering. Swing and a miss. Boy, that was above the letters. He just climbed the ladder there, and Guzman records 2 strikeouts in the inning. And for Ken Denver, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 2 men left. Let's head to the third. In Englewood, the score. Brush 1, Ken Denver nothing. This is 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. The Bay Diggers lead 1-0 as we head to the third. I'm John Beltran here from Ken Denver High School in Englewood. Brush taking the lead in the first inning on Nick Wellen ground out. And for Brush, it'll be Justin Griffith. And now we're feeling a little bit more here. Starting to come down a little bit harder. In Englewood. Yeah. All right, so Griffith stepping in the pitch. Fastball is up and away. 1 ball and no strikes. Here's the wind and pitch. And that is a strike at the knees. Count levels at 1-1. And the offering. And the breaking ball bounces to the screen. 2 balls and 1 strike here to Justin Griffith. Yeah, we have rain, drops of rain, and it stops, but now it's a little bit harder. Pitch is up and away. And it's 3 balls and 1 strike. Here to Justin Griffith. Wind and pitch. Swung on in line. Foul off to the left. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The Bee Diggers center fielder awaits the pitch. And that is outside. Oh, that called strike 3. Wow. Jeez. I mean, that pitch looked like several inches off the plate. Wow. Well, let's see if that goes both ways, because that certainly looked like it was well off the plate. But it's a strikeout of Justin Griffith. He didn't like it. I don't blame him. That'll bring up Nick Wellen, who grounded out, driving in the game's only run in the first inning. And the offering. And the breaking ball bounces away to the screen. 1-0 to the sophomore shortstop. And again, for those listening on air, on the radio. We've been working on the issues here that we're having online. That pitch misses at 2-0. 2 balls and no strikes. Here's the wind and the pitch. Bounces in. 3-0 now. Van Sickle had 4 walks in the opening inning. Was very effective in the second with a couple of strikeouts. And has struck out the first Bead Digger on a 3-2 pitch here in the third. But Nick Wellen ahead in the count at 3-0, and the offering way inside. It's a 4-pitch walk. And Van Sickle just threw his 56th pitch, and he's only gone 2 1/3 innings. There's Isaac De Herrera. De Herrera walked. De Herrera has now been retired so far this season. Throw back to first, and Wellen back in diving. Tag was applied there by Manzanares, but Wellen back in.
Isaac De Herrera steps in for the Beat Diggers. 1 out.
Yeah, De Herrera was 3 for 3 with a walk on Tuesday. Throw back to first, and Wellen leaning, but he's back in diving. Yeah, Wellen, an outstanding athlete. Had a heck of a football season along with what he did in wrestling and now in baseball here. First pitch still to come to Isaac De Herrera, squaring to bunt, and it's low. 1 ball and no strikes. Here to the Bead Digger third baseman. Colin Cole waits to hit next. On a very overcast day, we've had some rain. Now it's let up again, and De Herrera calls time. Justin Griffith walked and scored in the first. He got the second on a wild pitch, third on a pass ball, then Wellen drove him in on a ground out. In fact, the Bead Diggers are still looking for their first hit despite the lead, squaring to bunt. That's taken for a strike. A fastball down the middle just above the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike to Isaac De Herrera. And the Bead Diggers holding this 1-0 lead in the third in Englewood. Ken Denver's got 2 hits in the game. 2-step advantage for Wellen. Throw back to first, and he's back in diving. Close play. Yeah, he got that hand back, and it's a good pickoff move there by Van Sickle. De Herrera digs back in. 1 ball and 1 strike. The stretch. And the offering. Swing and a miss and a fastball up and in. It is 1-2. The stretch. And Van Sickle comes home. Runner going. Swing and a miss and a curveball. Throw to second. Wellen's in there on the stolen base. Well, that's exactly what Ken Denver did in the last inning. They had a steal of second on a strikeout. So did the Bead Diggers right now in the third. As Isaac De Herrera is retired for the first time this year. And Van Sickle's got 4 strikeouts in the last 2 innings. Colin Cole did walk in his first plate appearance. Van Sickle looks back in the offering. That's a fastball up and in. On pitch number 61 for the senior right-hander. Plenty of speed there at second base with Wellen. And Cole awaits the 1-0. In the dirt. That one skips away towards the screen. We'll call that a wild pitch. Tough to tell from here whether it hit the dirt first or it was straight there on the fly. But nonetheless, at third is Wellen. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. Yeah, let's check out the line here for the right-hander Van Sickle. Because he's had to labor here through 2 2/3 innings. Van Sickle, despite not giving up a hit, has 4 strikeouts and 5 walks. And the pitch, up and in again. It's 3-0. In that Sterling Lamar game on Tuesday in Sterling. Lamar won 7-6 in 8 innings, and Lamar walked 13 hitters. I mean, that's just very sloppy. 3-0. And that fastball's in the inside corner at 3-1. Here to Colin Cole. Three balls and one strike to the senior catcher. Off of third is Nick Wellen. Rude lays down the sign. The stretch by Van Sickle. And a pitch. And that bounces in. 6th walk issued by Van Sickle. And here's Carson Rule. He also walked in his first plate appearance. So Rule stepping in. The stretch. And the offering. And that ball hit him. Ooh. Boy, that got him right around the left leg. Man, Van Sickle's got a live arm, but I tell you what, he is just 37 balls and 29 strikes. Now, Dunker was up there earlier in the game with the bases loaded, and he swung at a 1-0 pitch that jammed him, and he grounded a second. So he might want to rethink his strategy here. Work up that pitch count. This is already the 3rd time this season that Dunker's up there with the bases loaded. Had the 3-run triple against Valley, and as I mentioned, grounded out the second. And if Van Sickle can somehow get to a secondary pitch, that might be his best option, because the fastball is something that's not working for him right now, at least consistently. He does have the 4 strikeouts, but 6 walks and a hit batsman. He will come out of the windup here. And the pitch to Dunker. That's a fastball for a strike on the outer half thigh high, and it's 0-1. The Bee Diggers have the bases loaded without the benefit of a hit. The pitch swung on and foul to the screen. Good solid swing there, but Van Sickle has thrown the pitches when he's needed to. The Bee Diggers have already stranded 3 through the first 2 innings. And now Van Sickle's got the luxury of maybe going to the breaking ball if he wants to here on an 0-2. And the offering. Fastball is up and in. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the Bee Digger first baseman Ryan Dunker. 1-0 Brush in the top of the 3rd. As the Bee Diggers are looking to extend the lead. And the pitch. Curveball is in the dirt. Nice take there by Dunker, blocked by Rude. And that was pitch number 70 already for Van Sickle. He's running out of pitches. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and the bases are loaded here in the 3rd. And the pitch to Ryan Dunker. And that is low. Took something off of that. It's 3-2. Now a base hit could score 2 here. The runners will be going. At 3rd is Wellen. Cole at 2nd. Carson Rule is at 1st. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And the pitch to Dunker. And that is over, but low. And it's a walk. 7th walk issued here by Noah Van Sickle. Nick Wellen scores. Ryan Dunker gets the RBI. And the Bee Diggers now lead 2-0. Here's Gunnar Guzman. Guzman struck out looking in his first plate appearance. As the Bee Digger pitcher looking to help himself right now. Here's the wind and offering. And that's right down the middle for a strike with a fastball. It's 0-1. So now it's Cole at 3rd, Rule at 2nd, Dunker at 1st. And the 0-1 to Guzman. And he swings and taps it right out in front of the plate. The catcher, Rude, is going to barehand, sets. He throws to first in time. And Guzman is out on that slow roller right out in front of the plate. For the Bee Diggers in the inning, they do score a run on no hits, no errors, and the bases were left loaded. Let's head to the bottom of the 3rd in Englewood. The score, the Bee Diggers 2 and Ken Denver 0 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. All right, let's head to the bottom of the third inning. The Bead Diggers with a 2-0 lead. Over the Ken Denver Sun Devils.
We'll bring the top order. We'll start the third inning. Jackson Chrisman will step in for.
And Jackson Chrisman will lead off here. All right, so here we go. Chrisman hitting from the left side here for Ken Denver. He popped out his first time. It actually was a line drive to the right fielder, Carson Rule, who made a nice shoestring catch there. Here's the wind by Guzman and the pitch. And that is just off the plate, but that looked like the same location that Justin Griffith was rung up. 1 ball and no strikes. I mean, it was that far off earlier. And the offering. Must be inside. I can't figure this out. 2-0. Yeah, I think Gunner's wondering where both of those pitches missed. I mean, the first one looked outside, but again, that was a strike against Justin Griffith on a 3-2. The pitch swung on and popped foul and ought to play off to the left. 2 balls and 1 strike. Here to Jackson Chrisman. Davis Evans on deck, followed by Henry Rogers. And the offering swung on and popped up on the infield, the left side. The third baseman, D. Herrera, ranges in and makes the catch. And there's 1 down, and again, out in front of that changeup. And that'll bring up Evans. Evans walked and was stranded on the base paths in the first inning. The right-handed hitter for Ken Denver awaits the pitch. And check swing foul to the screen.
Davis Evans takes ball 1.
No balls and 1 strike. Looking to find insurance for your car, home, or even for you, Ingmar Phillips Insurance in Fort Morgan and Brush. And that bounces in. The count leveled at 1-1. Here to Davis Evans. Here's the wine and offering. And that's in the dirt. 2 balls and 1 strike. With 1 out and the bases empty at the bottom of the third. Brush 2, Ken Denver nothing. On an RBI ground out in the first from Nick Wellen. A bases loaded walk to Ryan Dunker in the third. And the pitch. That is a strike. Upper part of the zone there to Evans. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Guzman has allowed 2 hits thus far, but more importantly, no runs. The wine and offering, and that bounces into Cole, 3-2. This will be the 40th pitch delivered by Guzman here through 2 1/3 innings. It'll be a full count here to Evans. The offering swung on and tapped foul. Count remains at 3-2. Here in the bottom of the third inning. Cole lays down the sign. Wine and offering. Swung on and tapped down the third base line. It drifts foul.
Swung on down the third base line. Foul ball.
So Evans stays alive on that 3-2, getting a piece of the baseball. Yeah, nobody's really made super solid contact against Guzman except that base hit by Rude. That was lined into center field. Even the first hitter, Chrisman, hit it pretty well. That was called by Rule, but outside of that, 3-2 pitch. Curveball is, I just missed. Wow.
Evans goes there.
That'll bring up Rogers, who popped out. With 1 out and 1 on in the bottom of the third inning. That's a heck of a take there by Evans, because that ball was all over the strike zone until the very end. And then it just tailed off the plate. Short lead at first. Pitch to Rogers. Upstairs with a fastball. 1 ball and no strikes. The Bead Diggers will face the Weld Central Rebels coming up Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. Snap throw! Safe! Oh, he just got back in, but Dunker dropped the ball anyway. Yeah, I don't know if it didn't look like it bounced him, but the ball was on the ground. Oh, that was an excellent snap throw there by Guzman, but the play, unfortunately, was not completed for Brush. 1 ball, no strikes, 1 out, 1 on, 2-0 Brush in the third. Runner goes, swung on and driven deep into right field. Carson Rule stumbles out there, and the ball is off the fence. And stumbling around first is Rogers going for second. And boy, nobody was covering second. It'll go as a 1-out double. Well, it looked like that might have been a mistake there by Wellen. I think if Wellen is covering second, then Caleb Cox could have thrown Henry Rogers out at second. Without a Bead Digger covering second base, it's a straight-up double, but that could have easily been a play where they eliminated Rogers at second base. And now the tying run is at second for Noah Van Sickle, who had an infield single in his first at-bat. The pitch swung on, that ball's chopped to third. De Herrera along the line, foul.
Ball's on the third baseline, just foul.
So Ken Denver has something going here in the bottom of the third inning. No balls, 1 strike, 1 out. Out of the windup is Guzman. And the pitch, swing and a miss. Boy, he challenged him with some heat above the letters. It's 0-2. We are just shy of the top of the hour. This is 1010 KSIR, Brush, Fort Morgan, Weldona, as well as KSIR.com. I'm John Beltran from Ken Denver High School in Englewood at Judd's Field. A pitch, and the breaking ball is up and in. Ball 1, strike 2. Evans at third, Rogers at second. Evans reached on a 3-2 walk, and Rogers just laced a double. The pitch, swung on, lined up the middle for a base hit. Evans will score. Rogers is going to be sent home, and he will score, tying the game at 2 on the single from Noah Van Sickle. Man, that's a game of inches, because Guzman nearly caught that ball. He was that close. There's Jack Root. He had a base hit his first time up. So even though both teams have 2 runs, the Bead Diggers are being out hit in the game 4-0. Snap throw to first. Back in diving is Van Sickle. Bead Diggers at double play depth. Here's the stretch and the offering, and that's upstairs. 1 ball and no strikes. Here to Rude. Whether you're in the market to purchase a new or pre-owned vehicle, Ehrlich Toyota East in Fort Morgan will fit you into the car truck of your choice. Serving all of Northeast Colorado, Ehrlich Toyota East. Runner going, pitch is high. Now caught between first and second as Van Sickle. Ball gets away, and then he's in there. Well, that's not the not a conventional steal, but that's what the scoring is for Van Sickle. Looked like he was caught there. He stopped, but the throw had not gone all the way through, apparently. 2-0. And the pitch. That's up and away. 3 balls and no strikes. Here to the Ken Denver catcher. More than likely will be taking here. And the offering. And that is a strike on the outside corner. Guzman so far has struck out 2. He's walked 3. And the offering swung on and fouled off to the left. 3 balls and 2 strikes. The game is tied at 2 on Noah Van Sickle's 2-run single here in the third, with a man at second, and 3-2 to Jack Rude. And the runner goes to third. Swung on, line, caught by Wellen, and he will step on second for the double play, doubling up Van Sickle, and it ends the inning just like that. All right, but Ken Denver does a little bit of damage here. They score a couple of runs on 2 hits, no errors, and the bases were left empty. Let's head to the 4th inning. Brush 2, Ken Denver 2 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. The Bee Diggers 2, the Ken Denver Sun Devils 2 in the top of the 4th inning. John Beltran from Judd's Field here at Englewood. Brush does not have a hit yet, but they scored in the first inning on Nick Wellen's RBI groundout following a walk to Justin Griffith, as well as a wild pitch and a pass ball, and then a bases-loaded walk to Ryan Dunker in the third. Yeah, it's got to be frustrating for Noah Van Sickle. He's got a live, strong arm, but he has been all over the place. 74 pitches. He struck out 4, walked 7, and hit a batter. He had a very good second inning. Here's Ben Brown, and the pitch, swing and a miss up and in. Brown struck out his first time up. 9-1-2, Brown, Cox, and Griffith here against the right-hander Van Sickle, who again was the winning pitcher 2 years ago in the district championship game, 11-1. That's fisted to the screen, foul. No balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, this is more of a pitcher's duel as opposed to what we saw on Tuesday when the bats were going. From breakfast and snacks to perfectly brewed coffee and teas, Willow Coffee and Bake Shop, even gift items. The pitch swung on, fouled off to the right on that fastball, down and in. 921 Edison Street in Brush. Willow Coffee and Bake Shop. All right, Ben Brown will await another 0-2 pitch here from Van Sickle, who's working quickly and has thrown 77 pitches already. And the offering, swing and a miss and a fastball up and in. And Ben Brown has struck out twice. There's 1 down. And Caleb Cox steps in. He's grounded to the mound and then grounded to second. Cox had a 2-run double on Tuesday, hitting .333 to his first 6 at-bats. And the pitch. Well, that one got away all the way off the glove to the screen. Looked like he tried to throw a breaking ball to the left-handed hitting senior second baseman Cox. 1 ball and no strike. So very interesting. The Bee Diggers have a starting lineup of Cox and Griffith, 2 lefties at the top. Now we know they both have speed. And if they can get on, they can set the table for Wellen and De Herrera. Took something off that fastball for a strike at the knees on the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Here to Caleb Cox in the top of the 4th inning. Brush 2, Ken Denver 2. And the rain has disappeared. The sun is trying to peek through the clouds. And that fastball is low. Oh, I thought he was going to call that a strike. I mean, the strike zone has been unpredictable at times. 2 balls and 1 strike. And Caleb Cox awaits. Swung on, line foul off to the left. Tried to jam him with that fastball. And the count levels at 2-2. If the Bee Diggers going to work up the pitch count here, Van Sickle could last through the 5th, and maybe that's about it. 110 is the pitch limit. He's at 82 right now. And the 2-2. Curveball is a called strike 3 right down the middle. Caleb didn't see that one coming. And there's 2 down. Yeah, I think he was thinking fastball away or something like that, and boy, he unleashed the hook. And that's strikeout number 6 now for Van Sickle. Justin Griffith has had both Van Sickle's results today, a walk and a strikeout. And the offering. Curveball is right there. Threw him the same pitch that he did to Cox, but that was a strike on the inside corner as opposed to the one he threw to Caleb, which was down the middle at the knees. And Van Sickle turns and delivers. Curveball is outside. And the count evens at 1-1 Even throwing the strikes in the inning, Van Sickle's got 44 balls so far and 41 strikes. And the 1-1 pitch swung on. That ball is grounded left side for a base hit into left field beyond the lunging shortstop Davis Evans. And the Beat Diggers have their first hit of the game, and it comes with 2 outs here in the 4th inning from Justin Griffith. And here's Nick Wellen. Wellen looking for his first hit of the season, but he's only 0 for 3. In this game, 0 for 1, grounded out and walked. And the ground out drove in a run. Throw back to first, back and diving is Griffith. Yeah, he might be taking off considering there's 2 down. Speed at first, speed at the plate. And the pitch. And that fastball is down and in. 1 ball and no strikes. At the very least, they can get Van Sickle to 90 pitches here by the time the 4th inning is expired. 1 ball, no strikes to Wellen. 2 down here in the 4th inning. About a 1.5 lead for Griffith. He stays. Fastball, a strike on the outer half, thigh high. And the count levels at 1 ball and 1 strike. And now the sun, for the first time in the game, has come out pretty much in full force. Now enveloping the field, so to speak. And the pitch. That is right there on the outer half. Same pitch, same location, same result. Strike 2. But again, Wellen working the count. This will be the 90th pitch thrown by Noah Van Sickle here. With 2 down in the 4th inning. Griffith with about a 1.5 lead. Tries to stretch it out just a tad, but Van Sickle's got a very good move. Now he does a little bit more, and then Van Sickle steps off. Which surprises me because he's been in rhythm here to Wellen with these last 2 pitches. You figure he wouldn't worry about the base runner. He's already struck out 2 hitters in this frame. Rude lays down the sign. Looking to strike out the side. Wellen awaits. Runner goes, and that's in the dirt with a breaking ball. Excellent pitch to run on. No throw, so Griffith is in scoring position. Beat Diggers have a couple of stolen bases today, including one from the hitter Wellen, now from this base runner, Griffith. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 1 on. The stretch. And Wellen awaits. Fastball is up and in. 3-2. To Nick Wellen. Yeah, you got to be a special player if you're a starter as a sophomore, and that's what Wellen is. He's got lots of skills. 3-2. Griffith started as a sophomore as well. Swung on and fouled out of play off to the right. Tried to come in on a fastball. It remains at 3-2 to Nick Wellen. Find out why Morgan Community College is the best choice for your higher education. They're at MCC. How about morgancc.edu? Visit MCC online. It'll be another payoff pitch here to Nick Wellen. Runner goes to third. Swung on, grounded up the middle. The shortstop to his left, and Davis Evans throws to first, and Nick Wellen is retired for the out. The Beat Diggers do not score in the 4th inning. They do get a base hit and a runner left in scoring position. 3.5 innings complete in Englewood. The score, Brush 2, Ken Denver 2. This is 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. As we head to the bottom of the 4th inning, got a good ball game going on in Englewood. Brush and Ken Denver deadlocked at 2, and this Ken Denver team routed their first 2 opponents, beating Sheridan 14-5, and then Manitou Springs on Tuesday 10-0. So the Beat Diggers appear to be providing the first 2 competition for the Sun Devils this season. It'll be Ben Fillerman, Isaiah Manzanares, and Sebastian Radicke, 6, 7, and 8, here against Gunnar Guzman. Fillerman fly to the shortstop, Wellen, in his first at bat. And Gunnar toes the rubber, or as my son likes to say, the bump. Swung on, tap, foul up the third base side. Yeah, I don't remember the bump. being terminology when I was growing up. Maybe it has been. I mean, I just, obviously the mound and the rubber, but not the bump. I think that's more, maybe more new age. Swung on and popped foul, headed out of play. Dunker, the first baseman, giving chase. And it's just out of play. It is 0-2 to Ben Fillerman to lead off the bottom of the fourth inning.
0-2 on Fillerman with the last foul ball.
Yeah, the Beet Diggers will have a dilemma, from what I understand, to deal with after this week. They'll have several players out for the next, 4 games after they get through the Weld Central game on Saturday. So that will certainly be challenging. You'll see some players in there that are not in the game today. And the pitch, and the breaking ball is up and in. 1 ball and 2 strikes to the second baseman, Ben Fillerman. Cole lays down the sign. And the offering. And that curveball barely missed. Boy, that had some late action to it. And Fillerman kind of flinched at that, but it was inside. 2-2. Gunner again. Comes home. Swung on and popped foul out of play as Fillerman reached out to get a piece of the baseball. Count remains at 2-2. Not worried about pitch count yet with Guzman. This will be a 60th, so he's just over the halfway mark to the limit. And the offering. And that went behind the hitter. Looked like he might have tried to unleash a curveball that didn't curve the right way. 3 balls and 2 strikes. We're in the bottom of the fourth inning in Englewood. The Beet Diggers and Ken Denver Sun Devils are deadlocked at 2. And the payoff. That is just a tad low with a changeup. Man, that barely missed. The last 2 walks issued by Guzman are on pitches that he's barely missed. Here's Manzanares, who Guzman struck out on a breaking ball in the dirt a couple of innings ago. And the pitch, and that bounces in, blocked beautifully by Cole. 1 ball and no strikes. Yeah, the Beet Diggers have a pretty heavy schedule in March, considering they only play for about half the month. And knowing that it's spring break, but still 4 more games after today. And the pitch. Swung on and grounded left side. The shortstop well into his right. Has the ball kick off his glove and into shallow left field. Well, that'll be an error. And Wellen lifted his head. I mean, I think he was looking at second base prematurely. It was not a bad hop or anything. Wellen just lifted his head. He never saw the ball into the glove. And now the Beet Diggers are in trouble here in the inning after Nick Wellen commits the first error of the game on either side. Here is Radicke, who walked his first time up. And I'm not sure what the discussion is here. It's going to be a courtesy runner, apparently. That's what it's going to be. So the courtesy runner for Ken Denver will be, well, let's see if I got him on the roster. David Feldman apparently is the courtesy runner, if I've got that right. So first and second, nobody out. Bottom of the fourth inning, game tied at 2. The Beet Diggers had a 2-0 lead on the RBI ground out from Wellen in the first. Then the bases loaded walk to Dunker in the third. Looking back is Guzman. And that upstairs changeup is ball 1. Again, the Beet Diggers at double play depth. They can change the inning around. This is the number 8 hitter in the lineup for Ken Denver. And you got to watch out for some small ball here. Normally, bottom of the lineup, you might think of bunting the runners over. 1-0, but he's taking for a strike. Letter high in the count, levels at 1-1. Guzman just induced a ground ball, so looking for another, or maybe just an infield pop-up just to get the first out of the inning and not advance the runners. And the pitch, boy, located nicely, but just a little bit outside. And again, Guzman not getting the corner, or at least what he thought was the corner. They're 2-1. And Ken Denver doing a nice job of laying off those pitches. The stretch and the offering. That's right there. Got the heart of the plate for a strike just above the knees. And the count levels at 2-2. Critical juncture of the game. Ken Denver has not led. The Beat Diggers did have a brief lead, but a base hit can give them their first advantage. 2-2 pitch. Way outside with a fastball. It's 3-2. Well, this is a big pitch now, especially for Brush. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Fillerman off of second. Fellman at first. The pitch swung on and tapped off the end of the bat. Foul up the first base side. Man, those are pitches, especially when you make that good of a pitch. You wish was just recorded into an out. Now you got to throw another good pitch like that. See if you can get this hitter out in front, because he barely got a piece of it. Another payoff pitch here. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Radke out of the right side. And the offering, that is outside. And the bases are loaded off of that walk. And Jack Frank, who struck out swinging his first time up, will hit for Ken Denver. And again, another walk there issued by Guzman on a pitch that didn't miss by much. And the pitch swung on and popped up into foul territory. Third base side, D. Herrera runs out of room. Now, that's what he needs. Yeah, Frank is just chopping away up there. Yeah, the Beat Diggers might think about a play at the plate. Remember, the offense has been a little bit stagnant. They haven't needed, well, they've only got 1 hit, but they've been issued a lot of walks. For Guzman, that was his 5th walk issued. At third is Fillerman. Fellman at second, Radke at first. Nobody out here, bottom 4. Deadlocked at 2. Out of the windup is Gunnar Guzman. And the pitch. Swung on, that ball's grounded up the middle. Wellen has it go off his glove into center field, and the second baseman Cox flags it down. And that's the second error of the inning committed by Wellen. The run would have scored, but it looked like that was an easy double play grounder. And it's now 3-2 Ken Denver, so give Frank the RBI on the error. Is the run, because you can't assume the double play. Boy, that play's got to be made there by Wellen. Second error of the inning. And the bases remain loaded. And now you're back to the top of the lineup in Jackson Crispin, who's popped out twice. And Ken Denver now looking to break open this game. So Guzman pitching into some bad luck right now without defensive support. Yeah, the Beat Diggers have got to limit the damage now to stay in the game. Still with nobody out here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Crispin steps in with the opportunity to put a crooked number on the board.
Ken Denver got on the scoreboard in the 3rd on the 2-run single by Noah Van Sickle. And now they've added on this RBI on the error by Wellen, hit by Jack Frank. Righty against lefty. Pitch to Crispin. Changeup is up and away. 1 ball and no strikes. Nuggets coming up tonight against the Pistons, 7 o'clock on 1010 KSIR, and that's up and away again. It is 2-0. Here to Jackson Crispin. Line and pitch. And that ball nearly hit him, and it bounces to the screen. 3-0, and now they're 1 pitch away from adding to the lead. And the ball did hit him. They're rolling the ball, did clip him. So that'll be a bases loaded hit by pitch to Jackson Crispin. And now it's 4-2. As the run scores there for Ken Denver and Fellman. So Radke's at third, Frank at second, Crispin at first, and Davis Evans has walked twice. And that looks like it could be it here for Gunnar Guzman here in the fourth inning with the Beet Diggers down 4-2 and nobody out. And the base is loaded. All right, let's take a break. In the bottom of the fourth inning, it's Ken Denver 4, Brush 2 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. Just as he did on Tuesday, Bryson Wooldridge comes into the game, the junior left-hander. But this time with the bases loaded, nobody out, bottom of the fourth inning, Ken Denver now has a 4-2 lead on a grounder hit by Jack Frank and then a hit by pitch with the bases loaded to Jackson Christman. So Wooldridge relieves Guzman. And now the Beet Diggers have got to record outs. Even if another run scores, maybe even two, you're still in the game, but you can't allow three or more. And the pitch, and that bounces in. Davis Evans has walked twice. The right-handed hitting shortstop here for the Sun Devils. Bryson Wooldridge with a 1-0. And that tails in a little bit high. 2 balls and no strikes. That cannot close the book yet on Guzman. The runners out there are termed his responsibility. 2 balls and no strikes, and the pitch. And that is over for a strike with a fastball just above the knees. It is 2-1. Again, let's see if Wooldridge comes in with something right there, which he does. Swung on and grounded foul off to the right. Count moves to 2-2. Here to Davis Evans. Ken Denver scored the last 4 runs of this game. And a 2-2 pitch. Swung on and tapped up the third base side. D. Herrera charges, throws to the plate for the force. And Radicke is out at the plate on the force. That'll go 5-2. And that records the first out of the inning. And the bases are reloaded, but now with 1 down. And the hitter now for Ken Denver will be Henry Rogers. He popped out and then laced a double to right. 4 runs on 4 hits for Ken Denver, 2 runs on 1 hit for Brush. The Beet Diggers have committed the game's 2 errors, and they've left 7 on base, and that all-speed pitch is upstairs. Ken Denver stranded only 3. Again, Brush would love a double play right here. 1-0 to Henry Rogers. Lefty against lefty, and the pitch. Swung on, grounded to the second baseman, Cox, and it's off the top of his glove into shallow right field. A run scores. Here comes the trail runner, throw to the plate, the tag, and out at the plate is the trail runner. Out is Christman. A run scores. And, yeah, that'll be scored in there, allowing the man to reach first. But a nice job of Cox persevering and nailing Christman at the plate. The second out of the inning. And the pitch swung on and driven high and deep into left center field. Hit off Van Sickles back to the track, and that ball is gone. Holy mahungas, that pitch hung in the zone, and Van Sickle golfed it out of here. And a 5-2 Ken Denver lead is now 8-2, a 3-run shot in the bottom of the 4th inning off of Bryson Wooldridge. Man, didn't waste any time there. He swung at the very first pitch after the Beet Diggers had some momentum, generating 2 outs at the plate. And Ken Denver's plated 6 in the frame. Jack Root is singled and lined out. Wine and Offering up and in. 1 ball and no strikes. I mean, that ball had so much trajectory. I mean, he literally golfed it, the pitch. Down and away. It's not one of those where he just squared it up and hit it on a deep line. He just almost swung under the ball, but man, did he get a big part of that one. And the 2-0. Upstairs, 3-0. Oh, the Bee Diggers were down by 7 against Valley. They rallied and they had the bases loaded. In fact, they had the tying run at the plate, and that one drifts in for a strike. In fact, they had the tying run at the plate in each of the final 3 innings. All right, 3 balls and 1 strike, and the pitch swung on and lifted into left center field. A long run for Griffith. The left fielder Brown converges, and he makes the catch of the gap. And the inning is over. However, Ken Denver scores 6 runs, and they get a single hit. It was a 3-run homer from Noah Van Sickle. The Bee Diggers make 3 miscues in the field, and the bases were left empty. We head to the 5th inning. Ken Denver 8, and the Bee Diggers 2 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. The Bee Diggers at one point had a 2-0 lead, but Ken Denver scored 8 unanswered runs. And Noah Van Sickle stretched it out to a 6-run advantage following a 3-run homer over the left center field fence. However, this could be his final inning because of the pitch count. For Van Sickle, it's now sitting, let's check it, I believe it's in the 90s now, at 93. He's got De Herrera, Cole, and Rule for the Bee Diggers here in the 5th inning. De Herrera's walked and struck out. So officially he's 0 for 1. Yeah, when Ken Denver beat the Bee Diggers 2 years ago, they hit 3 home runs in that game.
De Herrera steps in. That comes at first base.
All right, so here's De Herrera. Wind and pitch. Fastball is up and away. 1 ball and no strikes. Again, Brush did chip away at Valley, and they were able to generate a nice rally. On Tuesday, swing and a miss. Up and in on a fastball. The count levels at 1-1. Here to the third baseman, Isaac De Herrera. Wine and offering. Swung on and fouled off to the right and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 4, 5, and 6 for the Bee Diggers here in the top of the 5th inning. De Herrera digs back in with an open stance. And time is called. I'll remind you, we'll be on the air on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. Bee Diggers and Weld Central Rebels from Keensburg. The right-hander Van Sickle comes home low with a heater. 2-2. That was pitch number 97 for Van Sickle. Yeah, Brush can score a couple in this frame. Then they're within shouting distance, so to speak. 2-2 pitch, and that bounces in. 3-2. And the Van Sickle line, as I mentioned, full of walks and full of strikeouts. 6 strikeouts and 7 walks and a hit batsman. 3-2 pitch. Swung on and tapped right back to Van Sickle. Leaps, throws to first for the out. 1 down in the 5th inning for Colin Cole, who has walked twice.
1-3 out.
Again, the Bee Diggers got their runs in the 1st and 3rd innings on an RBI ground out from Wellen and a bases loaded walk to Dunker, respectively. Cole from the right side. Awaits the pitch in the dirt with a fastball. 1 ball and no strikes to Cole. And that was pitch number 100 thrown there by Noah Van Sickle, the offering. And that fastball's high, man. He throws some heat, but again, has struggled with his control at times today, but he's got a 6-run lead through 4 1/3 innings. And the 2-0. And that one bounces in. 1 pitch away from issuing his 8th walk. 3 balls and no strikes. And they'll have to bring in a new pitcher here in this 5th inning unless Van Sickle can figure things out and limit himself before he gets to the pitch count of 110. The pitch limit, I should say, of 110. 3 balls and no strikes to Cole. 1 out, the base is empty in the 5th inning. Ken Denver leads Brush 8-2 in Englewood. Here's the wind and pitch. That is there for a strike with a fastball belt high. And it is 3-1 to Cole. Wind and offering. Fastball, outer half of the plate for a strike. 3-2. Cole digging back in. And the 3-2 pitch. And that nearly hit him. On that fastball, it's the 8th walk issued in the game by Van Sickle, the 3rd to Colin Cole. And here's Carson Rule, who's walked and been hit by a pitch. So no official at-bats for him in this game. Cole with a 2-step lead, and the Bead Diggers partially got back into the game because of walks. Valley issued a lot of them, especially in that 7th inning. In fact, the Bead Diggers loaded the bases on walks. Now we'll have a coach umpire visit. I'm not sure what that's about, but this might be telling him this has got to be the last hitter. And the pitch count, he's only 5 away. Now, if you're less than 110, you can start out with 108, 109, and then go through the 110 limit if it's a new hitter. Carson Rule awaits. And the pitch. And that's low. And just going with straight heat. 1 ball and no strikes. 55 balls and 51 strikes for Van Sickle. Cole off of first. Rude lays down the sign. And the 1-0 pitch. And the breaking ball is a beauty right there on the inner half. And the count levels at 1-1. The Sun Devils a double play depth with Fillerman and Evans, the second baseman and shortstop respectively. Cole with a short lead at first again. And the 1-1 pitch. And the curveball is a strike on the inside corner. 1-2. Yeah, he's got to get Rule out here if he wants to face another hitter, because this will be 109. 1-2. Curveball, that's a called strike. 3 in the inside corner. And Rule strikes out, and there's 2 down. And that was pitch number 109, but I guess he's going to be taken out now, unless they've got 110. But I've got 109 unofficially. It's the and that would summon another pitcher into the game here for Noah Van Sickle. And they grab the ball, so let's take a break with a pitching change here for Ken Denver in the top of the 5th inning. Ken Denver 8, Brush 2. This is 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. Davis Evans is the new pitcher for Ken Denver, and he just switches places with Noah Van Sickle, who will now be the shortstop. We're in the top of the 5th inning. And Ken Denver's in the lead over Brush by a score of 8-2. And you can close the book here on Noah Van Sickle. He goes 4 2/3 innings. He allows just 1 hit. And he strikes out 7, but he walks 8 and hits a man. Both runs were earned. Here's Ryan Dunker. Dunker grounded out with the bases loaded in the 1st. And then walked as a run scored, a bases loaded walk in his 2nd plate appearance. At first is Colin Cole with 2 down. Jack Rude lays down the sign. 2-step lead at first. And the pitch for the right-hander. Swung on and grounded left side. The shortstop, Van Sickle, deep in the hole. Throws high to first, and that airmailed the first baseman. And it's a new first baseman over there because Manzanares was taken out. It's an error on Van Sickle. That was a horrendous throw. I mean, did not follow through. James Doyle the first baseman over there had that ball go way over his head, and he's a tall first baseman. He looks like he's about 6'5" or 6'6". So that's the first error of the game committed by Kent Denver. And the Beet Diggers at first and third as Cole did advance another base. And Bryson Wooldridge will now be hitting. He's a right-handed hitter. The pitch. That's a fastball for a strike on the inner half. It's 0-1 to Wooldridge. Cole off of third. Dunker at first. The Beet Diggers are down by 6 at the top of the fifth inning. The pitch. Bounces in, bounces away, and Cole breaks for the plate. There might be a play. Throw is going to be offline. Cole slides in on the wild pitch. Dunker to second. And the Beet Diggers have plated a run here in the fifth inning. And it's Kent Denver 8, Brush 3. And it's a 1-1 count to Wooldridge. He's got an RBI opportunity now. He had one before, but now with another one. With a man at second base. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 down. And Evans looks back. And the offering. Oh, that is right there down the middle. Took that one. Very hittable pitch at the knees. It's 1-2. Wooldridge has not had many varsity at-bats. First one this year, but I don't even remember one last year. Might have had one. But he's primarily a pitcher. Dunker off of second. Davis Evans delivers in the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, that ends a run of 8 consecutive runs scored by Kent Denver after the Beet Diggers grabbed the early 2-0 lead. 2-2 to Wooldridge. And the pitch. Little bit down and away. Took something off at 3-2. That's a great take there by Wooldridge. Very good take, because that didn't miss by much. We'll see a 3-2 pitch here to the junior, Bryson Wooldridge. Dunker with a big lead. Looks like he might take off. He's going to take off. The pitch. Swung on and chopped over the mound. The second baseman, Fillerman, to his right. Sidearms to first. And that's it. And the Beet Diggers are done here in the fifth inning. They score a run and strand a man as we go to the bottom of the fifth inning. It's Kent Denver 8, Brush 3 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. Kent Denver 8, Brush 3. Let's head to the bottom of the fifth inning. And Bryson Wooldridge is still on the hill for the Beet Diggers. Against Valley, he pitched just a third of an inning. He'll get more activity now. 6, 7, and 8 hitters. Ben Fillerman. And then it looks like Doyle will be hitting in the 7 hole. And then Sebastian Radicke. Fillerman has popped out and walked. He's 0 for 1. The Beet Diggers did come back with a run. Now they're only down to their final 6 outs, so they've got to really generate a rally once they get to the 6th and 7th innings. But first things first, pitching and defense, which the defense abandoned them during that 6-run inning a couple of innings ago, and that pitch is in there for a strike to the second baseman for Kent Denver. Out of the stretch with the bases empty is Wooldridge. Swung on, grounded left side on 2 hops. Third baseman De Herrera. He throws it on 1 hop off the glove of Dunker and into foul territory. He short-armed that completely. 4th error of the game by the Beet Diggers. And man, that's just De Herrera kind of almost stopped his motion there. It was a very odd. Instead of just unleashing that baseball and throwing, he kind of short-armed it, and it was an easy throw. Keep in mind, he was like about 1.5 steps in on the grass. It's not like he was backed up. And the pitch to Doyle, and that fastball is just outside. First plate appearance here for the new first baseman for Kent Denver. Now the Beet Diggers got to clean up that defense. That's a play that they make 4 grades younger easily, and D. Herrera will be the first one to tell you that one too. That might be a commentary, but I think it's as close to fact as it gets. Fastball's in there for a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. And 3 of the errors have been made on the left side of the infield. The stretch. And the offering. And that is over but low. Here to Doyle. 2 balls and 1 strike. You can get icy ice at any local grocery or convenience store near you. Swung on and foul straight back. That pitch was elevated. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The B-Diggers have scored single runs in the odd innings, 1st, 3rd, and 5th. Ken Denver with 2 in the 3rd and 6 in the 4th. Pitch to Doyle. Swung on. That ball's grounded to 2nd. Cox has got it. He tags the runner going by, throws to first low, and it skips by Dunker. Tried to throw it so quickly that he really didn't get a grip on the baseball, but it doesn't matter. No advance by the hitter. That'll go 4 unassisted as Caleb Cox tagged the runner going by. So there's 1 down here for Sebastian Radicke. It's a good idea there by Cox. I think if he had a grip on the baseball, would have thrown it obviously right to Dunker, and you could tell it was kind of stuck in his hand a bit. 1 ball and no strikes. The stretch. Radicke has walked twice. Throw back to first. Doyle back in. Well, let's see if Woldridge can get another ground ball. B-Diggers need some practice on the infield. And he drifts that in there for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike here to Radicke. 1 down in the bottom of the 5th inning. Brush trails Ken Denver 8-3. The stretch. And Woldridge throws to first, and back and diving is Doyle. The big hit in this game was a 3-run homer by Noah Van Sickle. That made a 5-2 lead, an 8-2 lead. That tails up and away with a heater 2-1. Here to Radicke, the 8th place hitter in the lineup, 0 for 0 officially with those 2 walks. And Jack Frank is on deck. Boy, it's a big lead. I think Woldridge might throw over there. The pitch, down and in. 3-1. Yeah, Brush can obviously not afford another run to score, especially after just scoring a run in the 5th inning. And now we're getting overcast again. 3-1 to Radicke. Let's see if Woldridge comes in with a strike here. The pitch. Swung on and popped up into foul territory. 3rd base side. D. Herrera giving chase. It's off the top of the dugout and out of play. And it's 3-2. And the inning did begin with an error. And that's been the problem. Ken Denver has benefited from a lot of these B-Digger miscues. They've only got 5 hits in the game. And a 3-2 pitch. That's upstairs with a walk. Issued there to Radicke, and Jack Frank, who has struck out and reached on an error. 0 for 2 will now hit for Ken Denver. And I have a feeling we're going to get more rain before this game's over. Maybe just a little bit more. And again, the B-Diggers are at double play depth. And the pitch to Frank. And that ball nearly did hit him. Oh, boy. He tried to jump out of the way, and it got him right around the left ankle. 2nd time a Sun Devil's been hit by a pitch, and the bases are loaded for Chrisman, who lined to right, popped to 3rd, and was hit by a pitch himself. Lefty against lefty. The bases loaded here in the bottom of the 5th inning. This is it. And the B-Diggers want any hope of at least having a chance. They cannot allow another run to score. The pitch. And the changeup is upstairs. 1 ball and no strikes. And you certainly don't want Ken Denver to 10-run rule you here. They've got a shot to do that. Brush wants to get back into that dugout and hit. The pitch. Swung on and popped up into shallow left center field. Wellen, the shortstop, is out, and Wellen makes the catch No infield fly called because the ball was out in the outfield, and there's 2 down. Well, it's a good pitch thrown there by Wooldridge on that changeup. So they get a big out there, and now that'll send up Davis Evans, who is 0 for 1. He has walked twice and hit into a fielder's choice with 2 down now. Wooldridge out of the stretch, and the offering swung on and foul tipped into the glove of Cole. It's 0-1. At third is James Doyle, Sebastian Radicke at second, Jack Frank at first. And the 0-1 from Wooldridge. And that is just a little bit low and inside. Didn't miss by much. 1 ball and 1 strike. Wooldridge looks in, and the offering, and that is low. 1 with a fastball, 2-1, barely missed again. Boy, he's right all over that strike zone, but just not getting the pitch exactly where it's going to be called a strike. 2-1, needs 1 here. Swung on, that ball is grounded to third, and right underneath the glove of De Herrera into left field. 2 runs are going to score. Runner going to third, the hitter to second, and that'll be the 5th error of the game by the Bean Diggers on a routine grounder. As crossing home plate were Doyle and Radicke, and Ken Denver now leads 10-3. And I'm telling you, a lot of these errors, I mean, they are very simple grounders. Yeah, he just lifted the glove, and it went right underneath the glove and between his legs. And here's Henry Rogers. Wow, I mean, they got a lot of unearned runs in this game, including 2 right there. The pitch swung on and fouled off to the left. Bean Diggers can extend the game to the 6th inning easily, but man, now the psyche has changed completely. And just like Wellen had earlier in this game with 2 errors in an inning, De Herrera has done the same thing. Swung on and lifted high and deep and foul down the right side. That had like home run distance, but about 50 feet foul. It's 0-2 to Rogers, who was popped out, doubled, and he reached on an error his 3rd time up. But 2 in scoring position for the Sun Devils. Pitch from Wooldridge. Swung on, that ball is driven high and deep into right field. Carson Rule is way back, and he makes the catch a couple of steps shy of the track to end the 5th inning. That ball was launched over there by Henry Rogers. 2 runs, not a single base hit, 2 errors, and 2 men left. It's Ken Denver 10, Brush 3 as we head to the 6th inning on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. The Bean Diggers trail the Ken Denver Sun Devils 10-3, and Brush has really been their own worst enemy defensively with the 5 errors in the game, all from the infield. And now we head to the 6th inning, and it's really changed the game now, because even though Ken Denver got out to that 8-2 lead after the Van Sickle 3-run homer, Brush tallied a run in the 5th inning, and then a couple of errors there in the bottom of the 5th have got Ken Denver their biggest advantage of 7. Davis Evans will pitch now to Ben Brown to begin the 6th. And the offering. And he takes a fastball inside. Ben Brown has struck out twice. He had a very good junior year offensively, and that pitch went over his head. 2-0. 2 balls and no strikes to Brown. Yeah, Ben is at the point, I'm sure he just wants to get on base. No matter how it happens, just get on base. And that could get him going offensively. 2 balls and no strikes to the Bean Diggers senior left fielder. And the pitch. And that is upstairs with a fastball. Boy, and the conditions are getting much worse. The wind is blowing, the temperature is dropping. And the skies are really gray. 3-0. And it's not a pretty ball game right now. 10 runs on 5 hits for Ken Denver. They've committed 1 error. They've left 5 on base. Brush 3 runs, 1 hit, 5 errors. They've left 8 on the base paths. Pitch. That is right there for a strike with a fastball. 3-1 to Ben Brown, the leadoff hitter for Brush here in the 6th inning. Sun Devils 10, the Beat Diggers 3. Out of the stretch with the bases empty is Davis Evans. And the pitch, and that's in the dirt. That should be the 9th walk issued by Ken Denver pitching. If I have that correct, as Van Sickle issued 8 walks. Yep. Caleb Cox is grounded out twice. Once to the mound, once to second, then struck out looking in his 3rd at bat. And just like Brown, Cox can generate a rally very quickly. The stretch by Davis Evans and the offering. And that is in the dirt, skips away. And the second on the wild pitch is Ben Brown. I think the one thing we've seen so far early this season from the Beat Diggers, they've got pretty disciplined hitters. They're not swinging at bad pitches. Now the game on Tuesday went 2 hours and 22 minutes. And this one I think is going to exceed that one. We're just over 2 hours. And we're in the top of the 6th inning. But if Brush can just chip away, and that's why those 2 runs, man, they kill you. Those 2 runs that they scored that Ken Denver did in the bottom of the 5th, it just, ugh. And you figure you have a shot if it's 8-3, but 10-3, man, you've got to do this in small doses. The offering swung on and popped foul and out of play. Cox was jammed by that fastball, but got a piece of it. Now the count is at 1-1. Caleb Cox hitting out of the 1 hole today. The stretch. And the right-hander looks back and comes in. That's a fastball in the outside corner for a strike. Bell tied to Cox. It's 1-2. A lot of these Beat Diggers have seen ball after ball, but Cox has seen mainly strikes in his 3 plate appearances prior to this. Now down to the count at 1-2. And the offering. Curveball is grounded slowly to the right of the mound, picked up by the pitcher, throws to first in time. Well, it's a nice play by Evans, who was off balance, but retires Cox. Advancing to 3rd is Brown, and there's 1 down. 1 down for Justin Griffith, who has the only hit for Brush in the game. Walked his first time up and scored the game's first run, then struck out looking on a 3-2 pitch that was about 8 inches off the plate. Then got the base hit his 3rd time up. Pitch from Evans. And that fastball called a strike. Wow. Where is that pitch? I mean, how does he call that a strike? You gotta be kidding me. I mean, the catcher's reaching out for that. 0-1 in the dirt, skips away, breaking for the plate is Brown, and the ball barely got away, but Brown got such a great jump. I mean, that ball was maybe about 2 feet to the left of the catcher, Rude, but Brown read it right off the deflection, off the ricochet, and he scores easily. On the wild pitch, it's now 10-4, and again, I go back to those 2 runs allowed by Brush in the bottom of the 5th inning, and we'd have a much different game here, but it's a 6-run advantage for Ken Denver. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out, and the base is empty. And Griffith awaits, and the offering. Swung on and chopped to the first baseman Doyle. He's got it and steps on the bag for the 2nd out of the inning. 2 down for Nick Wellen. Wellen his first time up, grounded to short. In fact, a couple of times has hit the ball there and walked in between that. His first grounder to short, scored Justin Griffith in the 1st. The stretch with the bases empty, and the pitch to Wellen. Foul to the screen, and a ball right out over the plate. It's 0-1. The Beat Diggers do not have a crooked number in any inning. A run in the 1st, 1 in the 3rd, 1 in the 5th, 1 here in the 6th inning. No balls and 1 strike. And the pitch. And the curveball is upstairs, and that levels the count at 1-1. If the Beat Diggers don't rally today, they'll be looking for their first victory on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock right here on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com in Keensburg against Weld Central. and that's over but low. It is 2-1 to Welland. Ken Denver's big inning was the fourth when they tallied 6 runs, getting a 3-run homer to cap off the scoring there from starting pitcher Noah Van Sickle. 2 balls, 1 strike. Welland awaits, and he takes it a little bit low. 3-1. Still March baseball, and the pitching in the 2 games that we've seen has been probably more down than up because of all the walks that we've seen. Even today's starter for Ken Denver, Van Sickle, with 8 walks. And the 3-1. And the curveball is a strike at the knees. 3-2. Davis Evans walked 1 in this inning. Yeah, it's getting bone-chilling cold out here. 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and Welland awaits, and the pitch. Curveball is swung on and grounded on 1 sharp hop to the second baseman, Fillerman. Low throw to first, dug out by Doyle. And that's it for the Bee Diggers here in the 6th inning. Brush does score a run, and the Bee Diggers do it without the benefit of a hit. No errors and nobody left on base. 5.5 complete in Englewood. It's Ken Denver 10, Brush 4. This is 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. The Bee Diggers trail the bottom of the 6th inning in Englewood, 10-4 to the Ken Denver Sun Devils. They got a few changes here. Nick Welland is the new pitcher. Ben Brown goes from left to short. The left fielder is Jade Queen. And that looks like it's it. Everything else remains intact. And here comes the Bee Digger killer, Noah Van Sickle. He is 3 for 3 with a 2-run single and a 3-run homer. So he's got 5 RBIs today. His 3-run homer came in the 4th inning. And he will now bat against Nick Welland, making his first appearance on the mound. And that fastball bounces in. 1 ball and no strikes. Here to Noah Van Sickle, and had some glasses hanging on the top of his head, which you don't need. There's not a lick of sun. In fact, it's not pretty out here at all. 1 ball and no strikes. Pitch to Van Sickle, and he swings and misses at that one. Right there, up and in. It's 1-1. Bee Diggers have a few things obviously to work on, but not much time before their next game. And that ball skips in. 2 balls and 1 strike to Van Sickle, the leadoff hitter for Ken Denver in the bottom of the 6th inning, and the wind is whipping. Without question. 2-1. Swung on and lifted deep into left field. Going way back is Queen. He's running out of room. He reaches out, and that ball is off the bottom of the fence. He nearly got a glove on it. Rounding second is Van Sickle. Headed for third. The throw by Brown. And no tag there. The ball got away. Backed up by Welland. And it's going to be the 4th hit of the game for Van Sickle. It's a triple to lead off the 6th inning. And again, took that safe type of golf swing. That'll bring up Jack Rude, who singled, lined out, and popped up. 1 for 3. Well, now we know why Van Sickle's the cleanup hitter in this lineup. He's got a big swing. 9 total bases and 4 at-bats. Fastball, a little bit low and inside. 1 ball and no strikes. To the left-handed hitting catcher, Jack Rude. The stretch. And the offering. And that fastball's a strike on the outside corner belt high. It's 1-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cole lays down the sign. And Nick Welland comes home. Swung on and popped foul out of play off to the left. It is 1-2. A lot of these games start off with pretty nice weather. Then they end up like this. Out of the stretch with a man at third and nobody out. The offering. Swung on and fouled off again to the left. Count remains at 1-2. Rude, the number 5 hitter in this lineup. Yeah, most of Brush's competition is going to be very good this year. And I'm not talking about 60%, closer to 90. The pitch. Swung on, that ball is lined and caught by the second baseman, Cox, to his left for the first out of the inning. On that soft liner to his left.
Jack Rude with a little fair to the second baseman.
That'll send up Ben Fillerman, who's popped out, walked, and reached on an error. He's officially 0 for 2. Welland delivers. A little bit outside, took something off it. It's 1-0. At third is Van Sickle. Welland not even looking over there. Fouled straight back. No need to look over there. It's not being held by De Herrera over at third. Count levels at 1 ball and 1 strike. Yeah, let's see. I know that Ken Denver scored quite a few unearned runs in this game. Yeah, just to give you an idea. The pitch in the dirt. Of Ken Denver's 10 runs, only 3 have been earned runs, 7 unearned due to the 5 Beat Digger errors committed in the game. And the 2-1 swung on and chopped foul off to the left towards the Digger dugout on the third base side. And the count is at 2-2. The Diggers, of course, occupy the third base dugout at home. The stretch. And the 2-2. And the curveball is grounded to third to his lefty Herrera. Now he's going to throw to the plate after pumping to first. They got Van Sickle to run down. Called to third, the tag, and out. And now going to second, but nobody covering as Fillerman is now into second. But that's an excellent play. That'll go 5-2 to 5. Back to De Herrera for the out. On the fielder's choice hit by Fillerman. So initially he was going to throw to first, and then De Herrera saw Van Sickle was going to be out by a mile if he just threw home, and then he caught himself in a rundown there. And a pitch to Doyle, and that is inside. Hit into a fielder's choice his first time up, 0 for 1. Tall right-handed hitter with a man at second, 2 down in the 6th inning. Welland looks back. Welland looks in. He pitches. And that's up and in. 2 balls and no strikes. Yeah, that's the defense the Beat Diggers needed earlier in the game. But you know what? Hey, hopefully they can pick up where they left off after a play like that to get the runner out. That's in there for a strike. It's a 2-1. Fillerman at second base for Ken Denver in the bottom of the 6th inning. Ken Denver leads Brush 10-4. And the offering swung on. That ball is laced down the left field line, headed for the corner. Fillerman is around third. He will score. Doyle headed for second. It's an RBI double, and Ken Denver has reclaimed a 7-run lead. It's 11-4 in the bottom of the 6th inning. On that 2-bagger by James Doyle. Sebastian Radecki has walked 3 times. And he now bats for Ken Denver. And the pitch swung on and popped foul and had a play off to the right. No balls and 1 strike. So Doyle and Fillerman switched places. Welland comes home. Swing and a miss. Threw it right there over the heart of the plate. It's 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes. Let's see if he can put him away. Swung on, line. That's a base hit into center field. Griffith charges. Let's see if they send the runner. He's being sent home. The throw towards the plate is offline. Now headed for second is Radecki. No throw. It's an RBI single for Radecki as Doyle scores. And Ken Denver now leads Brush 12-4. Yeah, that throw went up the third base side, and nothing Cole could do there. That'll bring up Jack Frank, who has struck out reached on an error and been hit by a pitch. He's 0 for 2. And the pitch. That's a strike on the outer half at the knees. It's 0-1. So Irby Sun Devils going to be at the plate 4 times today because Frank is the 9th hitter in the lineup. The offering swung on, that is grounded left side. The shortstop Brown deep in the hole. Sets, fires to first. That's a laser. And the ball got away there from Dunker. And scoring is going to be Radicke. Couldn't handle it. Well, I think that was going to be a bang play at first. We'll call it well, there's definitely an error. Single and an error is the way it's going to be scored here. But I thought that throw might have got there on the fly. That might have to score that on Dunker. And it's 13-4. So that will go as another unearned run here. And the pitch sick there by Brush, and that's outside. Jackson Crispin has popped out 3 times and been hit by a pitch. Yeah, Ben Brown showed a live arm. I thought the ball got there on the fly, but it was right around the shoe tops there. And Dunker couldn't handle it. And that pitch gets away from Cole to the screen. And now the game-ending run is at second base. But again, the Bee Diggers have committed 6 errors in the game. I haven't seen them play defense as poorly since they lost to Fort Morgan. 2 balls and no strikes and a pitch. And that one skips away. On a wild pitch to third is Frank, and now they're 90 feet away from ending this. Well, the Bee Diggers at the very least want to get this game to the 7th. But another wild pitch would score the run and end this thing. 13-4. 3 runs have scored, including another one on another error. Stretch by Nick Wellen. And the offering. And that's a strike on the outside corner with a fastball. It's 3-1. Davis Evans waits to hit next. A base hit ends this thing. When Ken Denver beat Brush here 2 years ago, that was an 11-1 5-inning one. This is in the 6th. And the pitch. That's way outside. And Crispin walks. Here's Davis Evans, who's walked twice. Hit into a fielder's choice. And benefited from a Bee Digger error. He's 0 for 2. 5th plate appearance for Evans.
Davis Evans steps in.
The stretch and the offering. That's a strike with a fastball. It's 0-1. Here to Evans. Runners take their leads. And the offering. That's a strike with a fastball in the inside corner. It's 0-2. No balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, 3 across in the 6th inning. Runner goes to second. Swung on and chopped left side. D. Herrera to his right. Third baseman throws to first. That is in time, so we will go to the 7th as the Bee Digger third baseman D. Herrera makes the play. 3 runs on 4 hits, 1 error, and 2 men left. To the 7th we go in Englewood. Ken Denver 13, Brush 4 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com. We head to the 7th and final inning. Ken Denver 13, Brush 4 in Englewood. And Davis Evans back on the hill for Englewood. And the Bee Diggers will be having the heart of the order coming up. Or part of the heart of the order, so to speak. Isaac D. Herrera, Colin Cole, and Carson Rule, 4, 5, and 6. D. Herrera's walked, struck out, and grounded out. So he's officially at 0 for 2.
Isaac Herrera will step in to start the 7th inning. Here we go.
And again, we're going to keep it right here after the post game. The conditions getting threatening, so to speak. In fact, we might do a partial wrap-up right before this game ends. The pitch swung on and grounded right side. Second baseman Fillerman to his right on the third hop. Throws to first. And D. Herrera is out number 1 and 0 for 3 in this game. 1 down in the 7th. Here's Colin Cole. He has walked 3 times of the 9 walks issued here by Ken Denver pitching, 8 of them by the starter Van Sickle. Here's the stretch and the offering, and that is over but low. We'll briefly get you to ESPN Radio. I mean, it'll be a brief stint with ESPN Radio. Then the Nuggets and Lakers coming up. Not the Nuggets and Lakers, Nuggets and Pistons. And the 1-0 offering up and in. 2 balls and no strikes. Here to Colin Cole. With Rule on deck unless this inning goes long, because we will do the post-game show as an extension of this inning. 2-0. Swung on that as line foul off to the right. Colin Cole, he's working up that on-base percentage. I mean, that's the one thing I think the B-Diggers have done pretty well in this game. They have not swung at bad pitches. They've been pretty disciplined at the plate. And the 2-1 pitch, and that one is low. 3-1. Well, I've rarely seen in any game one hitter walk 4 times, but Cole is 1 pitch away from doing that. 3 balls and 1 strike to the senior catcher. And the pitch. And the breaking ball is in the dirt, and that's exactly what Colin Cole has done.
Cole takes the walk.
He has walked 4 times in the game. Carson Rule has not put the ball in play. He has been walked, hit by a pitch, and struck out, so he's 0 for 1. Buildings by Design has the experience to complete your project from start to finish. Get the quality you deserve in your building by starting your build project right. Start with Buildings by Design. The pitch. And that's upstairs. 1 ball and no strikes. We know who the star today was for Ken Denver. We'll talk about him as soon as we close out this game. And the offering. Fastball, a strike. At the knees, down the middle, it's 1-1. Ken Denver has a 13-4 lead. The B-Diggers have just 1 hit in the game. It came from Justin Griffith in the 4th inning. And the 1-1 pitch. Here it comes. Down and away. And we saw about 280 pitches or something like that. Close to 300 on Tuesday. And this one, the B-Diggers threw 122 in this game. And Ken Denver, let me see how many they got. Swung on and fouled back. 143. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here to Carson Rule. Cole off of first, 1 out in the 7th, and Ken Denver with a 13-4 lead. The stretch. And Davis Evans, the right-hander, delivers. And that is low in the dirt. Colin Cole taking off right off the pitch. It'll be a stolen base with no throw for Colin Cole. All right, Rule now with a 3-2. Yeah, the time has exceeded that of the time of the game against Valley on Tuesday, and that game produced 18 runs. We got 17 here. But this game not as close as that one. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And the pitch to Rule in the dirt. Wow. 11 walks issued by Ken Denver pitching today. Well, that's why I'm not going to discredit Brush for only getting 1 hit. It's not about hits, it's about on-base percentage, and even though the batting average is not great today for Brush, the on-base is a lot better. Ryan Dunker had a bases-loaded walk. He's also grounded out and reached on an error. Man, the wind is blowing virtually everything away. Thank goodness I'm bald. Not my hair would be all over the place. The pitch. Fastball is inside to Ryan Dunker. 1 ball and no strikes. Not a good week if you're not 100% physically. Because, man, being outside is not a treat. And the pitch swung on and fouled off to the right on a breaking ball. And the count levels at 1-1. I think we had 1, 2, 3 half inning in this game. Everything else has been base runners all over the place. Cole off of second, Rule off of first. One down in the seventh. Ken Denver leads Brush 13-4. It's a 1-1 pitch here to Ryan Dunker. And he swings and chops it left side. The shortstop, Van Sickle, has it go off his glove into shallow left field. Cole around third, headed towards the plate. He's going to be in there. And the other runners advance to throw to second. Dunker is going to be called out. Oh, it looked like he beat that throw, but he's going to be called out. So it will be on an error on Van Sickle. No RBI by Dunker. Then he's tagged out at second, but Ryan Fergus is out there. That's not a good call. Oh, that is not a good call. He clearly got underneath that one. Second error of the game by Van Sickle. Wow, I mean, that's just wanting to get out of here. Because it was clear from here that I didn't think he certainly beat that throw. But the tag was applied, and there's 2 down. And that'll bring up Jade Queen. His first appearance in this game. Jade Queen came in to play left field in that 6th inning. 13-5 is now the score. The stretch by Evans. And the pitch. Fastball is out. Oh, strike. Wow. All right, forget it. He just wants to get out of here. I mean, I do too, but come on. It's ridiculous. No balls and 1 strike. You're still earning a paycheck. Fastball is inside. Yeah, you can't call that pitch when catcher's backhanding and he's set up over the middle of the plate. That's not the way it works. 1 ball, 1 strike. 1 across, 1 on and 2 down. And the pitch to Queen. And that one is in the dirt, blocked by Rude. 2-1. Well, just like Valley has issues to solve even though they beat Brush, so does Ken Denver. A couple of errors here. Way too many walks. 11 in the game for them. Jade Queen looking to extend the game. Nope, stepping off now is Evans. This game at the 2.5-hour mark. The stretch. And the pitch. Fastball. That is a strike on the inside corner. It's 2-2. And again, we'll keep it right here. And then we should get to Nuggets pregame at 6:35. 6:35 for Nuggets pregame. We'll have a very quick wrap-up here from Englewood. The 2-2 pitch, and that's in the dirt. 3-2. Van Sickle threw more balls and strikes. Same story for Davis. 24 balls, 21 strikes. But Ken Denver certainly has had a huge performance from Van Sickle with the bat. 4 out of 4 with 5 runs batted in. 3-2 to Queen. And the pitch. That's in the dirt, and he walks. Wow. Excuse me. That's why that play at second base with Dunker being called out now looms even larger. I mean, Brush is still down by 8 runs, but you could have had bases loaded 1 out. Instead, it's first and third with 2 down. Ben Brown is 0 for 2. He walked, and he struck out a couple of times prior to that. And he will now step in for the Bee Diggers. Runners take their leads. Stretched by Evans. And the pitch. And that fastball's a strike on the outer half. No lights here at all at Englewood, at Ken Denver High School at Judd's Field. Because you could certainly use them right now. The visibility is okay, but not great. The stretch and the 0-1. Swung on and fouled straight back. Try to jam him on that one. It's 0-2. No balls and 2 strikes. Here to Ben Brown. Off of third is Rule. Queen at first. We're in the 7th. Ken Denver's up 13-5. Davis Evans, the right-hander. Runner goes to second, delivers, and the breaking ball's upstairs. No throw. It'll be a stolen base for Queen. Caleb Cox is on deck. He's got a shot here if Ben Brown could do something. And the 1-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out with a fastball. And Ken Denver defeats Brush by a score of 13-5. B-Digger post-game show brought to you by Mr. D's Ace Farm and Home Center, your headquarters for all your home, farm, and ranch supplies. From plumbing to feed, Sterling Brush in Fort Morgan, Mr. D's Ace Farm and Home Center. 13 runs on 9 hits, 2 errors, 7 left on base for Ken Denver. 5 runs, 1 hit, 6 errors, 10 left on base for Brush. The winning pitcher, Noah Van Sickle. Gunnar Guzman takes the loss. Time of the game, 2 hours and 34 minutes. Ken Denver moves to 3-0, and Brush falls to 0-2. As Noah Van Sickle was 4 for 4 with 5 RBIs. The B-Diggers had just 1 hit but did benefit from 12 walks. B-Diggers are back in action coming up on Saturday morning, 10 o'clock on the road against the Weld Central Rebels. Outstanding job by our sound engineer and producer, Isaac Greenwood. I'm John Beltran. The final score from Englewood: Ken Denver 13, Brush 5 on 1010 KSIR and KSIR.com.